Welcome back to the story capsule. Today's story is The Clockmaker's Secret, Episode 1. In the heart of a quiet old town, the kind with lamplights that still flickered at dusk and chimneys that puffed gentle trails of smoke, there stood a forgotten little shop at the corner of Wren Street. The sign above its door had faded to nearly illegibility, but if one squinted, they might still make out the words Harper and Time. For nearly 2 decades, the shop had slept beneath layers of dust and silence. Its windows were clouded, its clocks frozen in place as if holding their breath. That changed one golden morning in early autumn. Clara Bell, a woman in her early 60s with warm eyes and silvering hair, swept into a clip, stepped out of a taxi and onto the cobbled street. In one hand she held a modest suitcase, in the other a key, a brass one, old and weighty, given to her in a sealed envelope marked "For Clara when the time is right." It had arrived just weeks after passing of her grandfather, Arthur Harper, a man she hadn't seen since she was a teenager. A clockmaker by trade, a mystery by nature. She stood before the wooden door for a long moment, taking in the spell of damp wood, oil, and autumn leaves. Her fingers brushed the carving on the door frame. She remembered tracing it as a child. When she returned the key, the lock clicked open with surprising ease. As the door creaked inward, the scent of time itself seemed to drift out. Clocks of every kind lined the walls inside, tall grandfather clocks with brass pendulums, delicate mantel clocks with porcelain faces, even old little cuckoo clocks with fading paint, but none ticked, not even one. Clara stepped inside and stood still as though waiting for the room to recognize her. It didn't. The air was quiet, reverent almost. She set to work, dusting, opening windows, folding back heavy drapes. A thin layer of memory coated everything. She moved slowly, not out of age but out of something else. Reverence perhaps, or awe, or something unnamed. As the sun began to dip low in the sky and long shadows crept along the wooden floor, Clara paused to wipe her forehead. She looked around at the shop, now just a little brighter, a little less asleep, and then it happened. A soft sound, almost shy, broke the silence. Tick, tick, cuckoo. Clara spun toward the shelf behind her. A small cuckoo clock, no larger than a loaf of bread, had chimed entirely on its own. She blinked. She hadn't wooded. Had she? Curious, she took the clock gently into her hands. Its paint was chipped, but the tiny bird inside still wore a bright red cap. Turning it over, she noticed the back panel was slightly loose. Behind it, tucked into the hollow of the clock's wooden body, was a tightly rolled piece of paper. She unrolled it with careful fingers. The handwriting was thin, elegant, and unmistakably familiar. To find what's lost, rewind the time. Clara's heart gave a quiet skip. It was a kind of line her grandfather might have written in a birthday card or a crossword puzzle. He had always loved riddles, but this wasn't just a riddle, it was a message, a clue. Her eyes scanned the room again, but now something had shifted. The clocks didn't feel quite so silent anymore. Something had stirred, a breath in the walls, a whisper beneath the floorboards. She held the note close as if it might warm her hands. And somewhere deep in the shop, though she couldn't be sure, she thought she heard the faintest tick, tick, tick. Not all time moves forward. Some time waits to be found. The ticking had just begun, and Clara's journey through time is far from over. Stay tuned. More mysteries and secrets await in the next episode of The Clockmaker's Secret. To be continued.